and talk about this again. So I keep on bitching about it, but I'm not just bitching. I think I have a legitimate reason to do so. So I'm gonna air my grievance. So, so the misdemeanor conviction that I now have is carrying, is literally, and I believe the exact verbiage, carrying a loaded firearm in a public place. So, just leave that at that for now. It's illegal in California because it's a May issue. It's pretty basic for you gun guys, but it's a May issue state, which means a lot up in the air for the deciding party. In this case, it would be the LAPD, whether or not to let me do that legally. And just for my own personal, like a whatever, have or until recently had two CHLs or CCWs, concealed carry a weapon. I had one from Oregon and I had one from Utah. The Oregon one I believe is still in effect. And there's reciprocity throughout so many states. There are about 20 states in the United States. I'm good to go just from that background check in Oregon or ultimately on Utah. The Utah one's pretty good one to get. You get a lot of states with that one bang. So, but like all this, you might notice, what would Utah, if you do know, what would Utah be doing issuing concealed carry licenses? That's a constitutional carry state, and it is in fact a constitutional carry state. Recently, it's been that way. And they issue the permit because it's popular. People like the way they vet their people to carry, and they trust Utah with it. So they just kept it on us, trickle of income for Utah, so they keep it that way. But New Yorkers, you got bruen. Although it's right on, I'm gonna leave that alone for now. It's a whopper, and it's felt here, but is it felt there? Because what bruen? This is again back down to a basic level. Bruen decision means that every state should be just like Utah, not in that they issue permits, but they don't even bother with permits, and it makes a constitutional carry state out of all 50 states, but bam. So, I mean, am I guilty of anything, convicted of anything? California, they say yes, but 49 states, they say no. So, that's what that is. What bruen states, and I kind of just I got the gist, so I'm just going to relay it, is that you don't need a reason to carry. And here in Los Angeles, we do the bruen light, which is, it's been a California law for a while. If you're going to want to get the carry license, you have to provide a rationale. Like in New York, I know they had that too. That's one thing that we got to the point of absurdity. Like there was a lady that I read in the news in New York. She had children and she had a stalker. And she said, I have a stalker and I have to protect myself and I have to protect my children. It's so basic, just please issue it. And I imagine she had a zero criminal record, clean. I'm not sure about that. But they refused to issue it, even though she had a stalker. So, that said, that whole rationale song and dance is out the window. You don't have to fabricate some reason. Back when I lived in California, about 15 years ago, it was in effect, and that was pre-bruen, of course, which means that if you want the CCW, you have to fabricate a reason. And I think even buying a gun, if I'm not mistaken, you have to come up with a reason too. Say, and the only real valid one that was thrown out there and didn't get flagged was it's self-protection. But why have to come up with that? If I thought about this recently when I was still living in Oregon. I was just every day. Oregon's a shall issue state, which is one step better than may issue state, but not constitutional carry state. So with Oregon, if you pass the background vetting, but bam, you get the license. That was my experience too. And you don't have to provide any fabricated or other rationale, like for self-protection purposes. You back in the day, instead of, you couldn't even say to defend myself, because then they'd say, oh well, are you paranoid or something, and then they would not issue it, or they would not release the gun to you. How you doing? They got a little mileage on those legs, I noticed. So in here, yeah, again, I said Los Angeles does bruen light. They do, well, we used to say you have to provide a rationale for 1 year permit. Now we don't, because of bruen. But that's just scratching the surface. Really what the thrust of bruen is, CCWs anywhere are immaterial, or they're irrelevant. They're just, it's a wrong to address a wrong. The wrong is prohibiting carrying a loaded firearm in a public place. And another wrong is creating hoops to jump through to remedy that wrong. So it's a moot point, answers a moot point. It should be thrown out. That's not what's in the federal court now under Matthews versus the city of LA. That's Circuit 9, the whole West Coast. But that one does touch upon it though. It says it says Los Angeles is sole may issue. It's essentially probably not to issue. unless you're some, then they come up with dumb reasons. If they're wrong, they do a little bruen juxtaposition, or no, excuse me, a bruen light juxtaposition where they say, your rationale, we're gonna give you a rationale. You have a good reason if you're a security guard, defending a bank. You have a good reason if you're a security. Granted, some of those security guards, they're just like at the mom and pop shops, and they're armed. So that is something. But who do you really want to go through that, rigmarole? Because like training for a armed security license, they have like live fire from dominant hand, live fire from non-dominant hand, drawing, and all sorts of junk. That's like, it's even worse. It's just not worth it. That's so much red tape. It's already red tape. That's my point. And that was the point of bruen. That there's no red tape. All there is what you can do, and that is in the Constitution. You have the right to, defend yourself, protect yourself, however you want to say it. It's your right to keep yourself living. So why not? And it's like breathing. If you don't do it, who's going to do it for you, right? I used to have this expression, Mom loves me better. I get to breathe, enjoy myself.